and let us all do we can to build a better future. So we constantly kept on hearing from a lot of blue check marks and people on social media that once the Democrats are in charge, everything's going to be fine. Look, and remember, it was the Democrats during that deal with the $600 stimulus that were saying, well, this is great. But turns out it wasn't. And when Donald Trump says, hey, no, the people deserve $2,000 stimulus, then the Democrats realize, oh, no, they made an oopsie and tried to backpedal on it and say, no, we're for $2,000 checks, even though they don't acknowledge the fact that the Biden administration got involved in that deal. So one other thing, too. Trump wanted to do continuous stimulus checks. And one of the things he wanted was his name on the checks. But I don't think anyone really cared whose name was on the checks so long as we got our checks. But it was Democratic Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who said the reason why we didn't do additional stimulus checks because she wanted to hurt Trump. She didn't hurt Trump. Yeah, he didn't get elected, but that's not going to hurt him. You want to know who you hurt people. But now the Democrats, since they have the Senate and House, and Biden, good old Joe 30330, is saying he's for the $2,000 stimulus checks. Turns out good old Joe Manchin on proposed round of $2,000 stimulus checks, absolutely not. And he's a Democrat, folks. But remember, corporate media and other larger platforms and commentators and blue checkmark people are saying the Democrats are good because they're not Trump. They're not Republicans. So Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, on Friday voiced firm opposition to proposing the $2,000 stimulus checks, putting the moderate lawmaker at odds with President-elect Joe Biden. So when asked about this, absolutely not. No, Manchin told the Washington Post in an interview published Friday, getting people vaccinated, that's job number one. Look, people don't have money and unemployment is still skyrocketing. There we go, skyrocketing. We need our stimulus checks. We deserve more than just $2,000, Democrats. And if you fail to deliver, people are going to remember this. So going to 2022, if you guys get slaughtered, it's not on me for calling you out. It's on you guys for failing to deliver promises to the people. You can walk out of this. You can do better, but obviously Manchin is against it. Here's what he says. You guys are going to love this. How is the money that we invest now going to help us get to... let me read that again. How is the money that we invest now going to help us best to get jobs back and people employed? And I can't tell you that sending another check is going to do that to a person that's already got a check, he said.
Who needs like a sixth of the money we get paid every month? What can they possibly use it for?
Right. And the COVID-19 relief bill recently signed into law delivered $600. Oh, are they not merciful? Checks to Americans with individual incomes at $75,000 or below. There was a last-second push by President Donald Trump to call for additional $2,000 stimulus check, joined by Democrats and some Republicans to raise the amount to $2,000. Such legislation was approved by the House, but was blocked by Senate Republicans. Biden taking office on January 20th, and Democrats set to take the Senate majority that day. After two victories in this week, there's new momentum for the checks. Now, again, here's a quote from good old Chucky Boy. Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York. One of the first things that I want to do when our new senators are seated is to deliver $2,000 stimulus checks to the American families. It's not clear Manchin's opposition would be fatal to the bill. Some GOP senators have publicly backed the larger checks. As for a comment on Friday, a spokesman for Manchin suggested that West Virginia senator would be open to considering a larger stimulus checks once the coronavirus vaccine is distributed. Senator Manchin has made it clear that the number one priority must be distributing and administering the vaccine as quickly and safely as possible. Here's what I got to say to this. Democrats, Manchin's one of your own. Chucky Boy, reel him in. You're the Senate Majority Leader now. What, you afraid of him? You scared, Chuck? Here's what you need to be afraid of. The American people getting angry. You think what happened in Washington, D.C. was a fluke? It's going to happen again because if people are starving, if unemployment's still rising, at the end of January 31st, 30 to 40 million Americans are still at risk of being evicted from their homes. We did a story on Kansas City activists closing up a courtroom so that their fellow neighbors aren't evicted from their homes and apartments. See, Democrats, you constantly keep shooting yourselves in the foot and then expecting us to loyally help you out and fix you guys up because the Republicans are quote unquote bad. Both parties are in the same boat. Both parties are friends. Both parties take money from Wall Street executives, big banks, major corporations, the top 1%, the extreme centrists that keep on practicing these neoliberal policies. And Joe Manchin is against you. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are, how old or young you are, what generation you are, or who you worship. Joe Manchin is against you getting stimulus checks, even though right now we are at the height of pandemic and we have an economic crisis that will lead us into a Great Depression. We need our stimulus checks. The American people, all of you, we're really entitled to maybe $60K to $100K right now because there are so many businesses being shut down. There are people waiting in lines to get food. There are stories of people stealing food at grocery stores. This has never happened before in the history of America. And it kind of did in the Depression, but we haven't seen this in such a long time. But yet Democrat senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, is against you for getting a stimulus check. And he says he wants everyone to get vaccinated. Why not do both? We have time. Hashtag, where's my stimulus? Where's it at? We need it. But the Democrats don't care. You would think there'd be more pushback from the squad or from Bernie Sanders. But oh no, there's talk about impeachment. That's not going to do a damn thing. And the Democrats don't deliver with stimulus checks, continuous stimulus checks. I'm going to be very clear about that. Continuous stimulus checks and an idea for Medicare for all. Well, then, you know what? It'll be a slaughter in 2022 and it'll be a disaster in 2024 because if Trump chooses to run again, it'll be the Democrats that are going to give him and his team all the ammunition he needs to really cause a headache.
Yeah,
Daniel.
so let's also add in this. Nancy Pelosi says besides being the Michael Jordan of fundraising, thinking she's the best fundraiser that has ever been born on this planet, she's also known for being able to get people to do votes whenever she wants them to happen, to be able to pull out some stop or pull out some blackmail or something to get what needs to be done. That's what she's known for. That's her reputation. So I don't believe that Joe Manchin is just going, well, I'm going to unilateral. He has to have buy-in. And this is exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the Democrats. The Republicans, Republican officials, I should clarify, you know exactly what they stand for. You know exactly what they're going to give you. You know exactly what they want. And they say as much. They're for big business, for tax cuts for billionaires. They love socialism that goes up. Democrats like to say that they're for, we're here for every race. We're here for unions. We're here for all these things that they really aren't. In the end, they're just a slightly less wealthy version of the same thing the Republicans do. Republicans serve those in the top 1%. Democrats do too, but they also have a lot of 1 to 5% area of people. So my point with all this is that if Nancy wanted to make a vote happen, and she will, you'll see it, it'll happen. He'll vote for it. But now that he isn't, boy, doesn't that make that same thing before true? That if they win the election, it's going to be no different than if they lost, because they really don't want to do anything. They really just want excuses. Well, they keep giving socialism to the rich.
Yep. And also, there's all this talk about impeaching Trump, and if Trump is impeached in the House and then the Senate is the final judge, here's the thing I want everyone to know. Okay, the Democrats have a slim majority, 222 seats. Remember, 5 Democrats voted against Nancy. They were corporatist Democrats. 3 of them went for the Republican challenger. And there's also this talk about the Democrats having the Senate. There's no guarantee that Joe Manchin, maybe some of his fellow Blue Dog Democrats, would be against an impeachment as well. Why put hopes on this Hail Mary, all right? And the thing is, even if Trump is impeached, it's not going to stop somebody else like Trump from coming along, because the Democrats are doing this to themselves, and they're creating this weird system of censorship, and the idea is that we can't challenge them. It's going to get very dicey out there, especially for online commentators, especially for channels like us, because, again, you can't challenge the system, but if you are a larger platform and you have access, and that's your whole stick now, good luck with challenging the system, especially if they're not afraid of the people. See, the people have to do protests. So Joe Manchin is against stimulus checks? Well, write a letter campaign to Joe Manchin and the Democrats and the squad. Where are our stimulus checks? Where are our stimulus checks? Where are they at? Protest in front of their offices. Lay down the fire, because this is not right. Hold their feet to the fire. We need our stimulus checks. Other countries have been doing this. They've been taking care of their people. We're not. $1,200 in March, $600 this month, and that's it. That's it. Madness.
So I want to also speak directly to the squad as well, because this also undermines the whole issue that they seem to have, or one of the issues they seem to have with Force the Vote, is that, hey, there's not enough of us. Joe Manchin's one guy, and he is effectively dictating the policy for the entire U.S. government. You don't get to say my 15 people's not enough. It is. You could act right now. If Joe Manchin's able to pull and hold up legislation, you do too.
Yep. Fight for that better future. Otherwise, 2022 will be a slaughter, and it doesn't matter what we say. It's what people are going to react to it, and it's very difficult to tell someone to calm down, especially when their loved ones are starving. They don't have money to buy medicine. They don't have money to pay the bill, the electric bill, the heating bill. They don't have money to pay for rent or a mortgage. They don't have money for gas for their car. It's really hard to tell people to calm down when everything that they need isn't working for them and their government's not listening to them. So Democrats, you could still do this. That's if you give a damn. But I don't believe you until I see something done. And if nothing fundamentally changes, well, then your defeats are on your own because you took the people's good graces for granted. And I don't want to listen to you.